Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke O'Brien, and I am a seventh grade special education teacher in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
And I'm Catherine Gonzalez. I am a 9 through 12 special educator here in Providence, Rhode Island.
So, we've been working this week to come up with the Transition Assessment and Resources for Student Success project.
And our goal is to support students and teachers through the transition planning process.
So, for a little bit of context, I teach, as I said, special education for seventh grade students. We use a full inclusion model at my school. And since students are entering middle school, we begin to explore the transition process and they begin to participate in their IEP meetings.
So, I work with students with severe intellectual disabilities, which is considered the ECS as Exceptional Children's Services Program model. And something that we wanted to do was ensure that both teachers and students have a way to participate in the transition process and have access to resources and tools. So, we're going to be able to provide them with the opportunity to have access and be able to gain a voice in their educational planning. Teachers will also be able to gather and utilize the information from the completed transition assessments to make informed decisions on how they would like to write the IEP.
So this week we've been working on similar questions, but they've been a little bit different based on our audiences. So I have been focused on how can special education students use technology to discover their interests and explore transition planning.
And I worked on how can we support the teachers in accessing the necessary tools to develop the transition goals for the student success using digital tools. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about my project first, as we do feel that the teacher starts off as the student is center. The teacher has to be prepared in order to assist the student in the transition planning process. So my project focused on providing the educators with the necessary tools they need and to help them easily access and support students' success. So to do that, we created a Google site that has an easy way and an easier navigation for the resources and the transition assessments that would be completed by students. Their teachers will be able to access sample models as well in this Google site that will help them think of ways in order to showcase student work that they can later use to organize into student portfolios that would assist in the support and development of the IEP.
And I was focused more on the student side. So at my school, we do something called Transition Day, where students come down to our room and complete transition assessments in order to learn about themselves as learners, as well as set goals for the future. So I created a Google site that students can navigate by grade to complete the assessments for this Transition Day event. I also worked to create a Wakelet template that students could use in their IEP meeting to share their findings and share their goals with their family and their teachers.
So as for our teaching goals, now, what Brooke was talking about will also work with what I'm doing. So, we wanted to remind educators that organization is so important and it really helps in aiding in reducing anxiety and overstimulation. I know that sometimes Google Drives can be super overstimulating in nature. So, there are ways to use digital tools to make things more clear for both teachers and students to access. It's important for us to remember that we help provide those opportunities for student-led educational planning, and through this process, there are more accessible ways to use technology for expression, and for teachers to be able to use digital tools to support their everyday practice.
And the student side really gives students a voice and teaches them that their opinion matters. So, all through elementary school until they've come to middle school, their teachers and their parents have been in charge of making educational decisions for them. This project is really to give them a voice and give them some choice as their IEP is developed. So, we've come up with two sets of artifacts.
Right. So the first artifact is the Google site itself. So we'll do a quick little run through on what that Google site looks like and how the teachers can use it. Each school year, teachers participate in professional learning communities or common planning time with their department. They can use that time to organize a Google site that could have all the resources they need to easily access. So we'll take a look at that site now. As well, I'll also show you the sample use page that will also be able to house model videos and samples of things that are already being created, such as Brooks Transition Day and Wakelet. So let's take a look at the Google site, and we call it the Transition Assessment Hub. So here you can see the initial page, and it has the topic areas within transition assessment planning, student profile, education and training, employment planning, experiences, independent living. There's a section for other resources. When you scroll down, you can jump to each section, such as if you went to what is transition assessment, there's a quick little blurb on what transition assessment is, especially if you're a new teacher. I know sometimes it can be really overwhelming. And there's the resource link to the transition website for the district and Rhode Island in general. If you go to the top and you click on sample use, it'll bring you to the page where it will house screencastify videos and samples for these questions. First question is, how can I use digital tools to showcase or organize student work? You could do so using a Wakelet or Google Classroom. There's other various ways. If anyone ever has ideas, please email me. I will happily add to our transition hub. Brooke will be going over how to create a Wakelet. For example, if you have any events going on, one question is, how can I use digital tools to organize the information for the school-wide or departmental event? You can use a Wakelet or other things. These are just some examples of what the main pages would look like for the site. And as you come below, this is just a reminder that, we're here for each other. So feel free to share any information with me. During our studies this week, there's a really great quote called Access Alone is Not Equity by Mirko Chardin. He was one of our keynotes. He had this wonderful book called Equity by Design. And so that's our transition assessment hub, digital tools for student success.
So once teachers have themselves organized, we want a way for students to be able to easily access these different transition assessments. So we're going to take a look at the Transition Day website. So this website is for students to use, and students would be able to access the site on Transition Day. When we scroll down on the homepage, there's some information to help them understand what transition is all about. And then they can each access a page depending on what grade they're in. So sixth graders can go to the sixth grade tab and easily complete the three transition assessments that we have identified for sixth grade. Seventh and eighth grade can access their own assessments in their tabs. And then there is a piece for sharing out because we do want students to use Wakelet in their IEP meetings to share their goals and their interests with their families. And so this walks them through in a visual way, step by step, how to create that Wakelet. And now we're going to take a look at what that Wakelet might look like once they put all their information in. So students come to their IEP meeting starting in middle school and are expected to share information. And that can be a pretty intimidating process for them when they're the only child at a table of adults. So this visual can help them walk themselves through the process and have visuals to support them. So on the left, there's a category for goals where students would fill in their three goals for their areas of what they want to do in education, independent living, and employment after high school. In the middle, we link PDFs to the completed assessments that the students have done. And then in my district, we require 6 activities total, 2 for each area. And so the student and the teacher can work together to link those activities right into the Wakelet so that everything is organized in one place and students can reference it throughout the year.
Thanks, Brooke. So just a reminder again, the teacher who's creating this for the student can go to the transition hub, go to each topic area and look for some examples of transition or activities and assessments within each category that they want to do with the student, and then input it into the student page for the student to access. And then their completed assessments will go in here. Okay.
We appreciate you taking a look at our project. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
And a quick, just little thank you to the Summer Institute for helping us with everything. We really appreciate it. But thanks again.
Thank you.